Okay, welcome to a capital hungry breakdown of AUDJPY. So first, we're just going to start by looking at the monthly and understand that just as a candle signal and a technical cue, that this monthly currently has no bottom wick at all, and the overall trend is still extremely bearish. And for the last 60 days worth of data, 2 months, price has not been able to break above these candle close levels. It's broken above there, but it doesn't close above there on a monthly level, right? And this month has just started. It's only 3 days in, and it's already created the top wick, right? It's good to note because the catalyst that created this top wick was the interest rates being held, right? We anticipated that and caught the buys on AJ based on that, and on GA sells, right? So the whole idea behind that is because they held rates for now, it shows the current stance of the economy not being bad or being fairly neutral. And then in their statement, Rob Lowe or whatever his name is from the RBA was very hawkish still. But they still are going to cut rates coming into 2020 Q1 first quarter around February is the signal that they are still signaling at cutting rates. Overall, AUD is still very weak data-wise. They're not rebounding the same way NZD is from those rate cuts, right? And we have further new trade war pressure. Trade war tensions are escalating. Trump went off while he's in the UK. Maybe he needed that UK attitude to like let him rip. You know what I mean? He went off. He went after France. He talked shit about Macron. He's going after Italy. He's going after the euro overall for that whole Airbus thing and tariffs there. He's going back on deals about like between Canada and Mexico. He's talking about China deal may not happen till after his elections or when he wants the deal to happen, right? And we know the influence that trade war escalation has on USD, the Chinese yuan, and any close trading partners, where in this case AUD is a very close trading partner to China, right? On the flip side of this currency pair, you have yen, which with trade war tensions is going to further strengthen. So we can take advantage of some very strong one-sided volatility here, right? That's the fundamental side of it and what I'm forecasting coming into the next year, because we are coming towards the end of the year, right? And we want to start looking at price going into Q1 and Q2 and how we can set up. So, and also when I was just looking at the overall client sentiment, sorry, the overall client sentiment is still very long in this market. Overall, retailers are still longing this pair. They're still buying AJ. You know what I mean? AUD pairs are still being bought. I'm just looking at Owanda because IG is one retail brokerage, right? And then Owanda is another one. I just want to see I just looked at both just to get an idea, right? And we understand that AUD USD, AUD JPY is still heavily long on that long side, right? And that spike we had yesterday with the whole interest rate being held, if you don't understand the fundamentals behind it, right? It just looks like it's going to continue bullish. But now we start breaking down the technicals, we can see that even when price wicked these areas, it wicked at these candle bodies, right? Overall, very bearish. The impulsive moves are extremely strong, right? Of course, you have these corrections. I'm just looking at how market is moving like this, and I'm anticipating if the monthly goes like this, it'll be crazy, right? If we go back down to fill this range, we still have this bearish range of the monthly. We still have these lower low, a potential for a lower low to be created. Seeing a lot right here now because I'm looking at swing potentials and intraday, however you want to play it, right? We still have a potential for a lower low to be created. Price is still overall playing within this channel, however you want to show it. Right? And these monthly candle closes is so many days, 60 days worth of data. Even this candle here, how it wicked here, is 60 days worth of data that could not break below, could not break above and close above this solid level. This solid level around 74.5, a nice flat level, we'll say. Right? So far, it's looking extremely bearish to me. And that technical cue that this monthly still has not created a lower wick. And just on average, when you're looking at the higher time frames and you're looking at these pairs, there is a higher chance a wick will be created unless you have extreme pressure in one direction. Like for example, you had a lot of bearish pressure, it closes out a bottom wick and it continued down. Sometimes, like I show you guys, where you have bullish pressure and it'll continue up, and this is signaling little order flow to the downside for that moment, right? But currently, I do not see this as a bullish pressure candle, if that makes sense. I see this as just there's a higher chance a wick will be created and this is going to come to the downside. And I really like how it's already created this nice top wick only 3 days into the new month. And we had that catalyst for it already, right? So we got some trade war tensions for one-sided volatility to strengthen the Japanese yen, to weaken the Australian dollar, right? Weaken Aussie overall. We still understand Australia has poor data. They're not rebounding. They're still putting up like minus 18,000 in job growth. Like, how do you have negative job growth? Like, you're backtracking, right? Even right now, like some of their services PMI and stuff like that was just poor. Their services PMI was weaker than previous, right? And then when we're looking at the weekly, same thing that we have no bottom wick. I do not want price to come above these top candle bodies, and if we remain below this level, this is an easy sell off to me, and all we're gonna see is an impulsive break, something similar like this in the trend of things, right? Because I think just when we're looking at market structure, this is the correctionary phase, but this was still the impulsive movement. We just had a lot of trade war relief recently that, like in the last couple of months, in the last few weeks, last 2 months, that really helped boost AUD, was boosting US markets and global markets, was helping drop gold. Like, we were watching all this stuff. But now that fear of the whole trade war tensions and geopolitical tensions is coming back on the market, right? The only thing that can really support AUD at this point is if gold stays extremely bullish, and then because of Australia's heavy gold mining and exports, right? Oh shit! One sec, guys. I'm just gonna pause this recording. Somebody just at the door. I'm just gonna pause it and come back. Okay, so as I was saying, we do have that one-sided volatility. The retailers are still longing this pair. They still see this as a lot of bullish pressure. Of course, you have stuff like this, right? Which can change sentiment, because you have these cues where like, oh, price is closing without a bottom wick. It's closing at these flat levels. Like, it's going to go higher. And it does go a bit higher and peak those levels, right? But once it exhausts and it follows the fundamentals and the overall flow, it's going to melt. It's going to have an impulsive break, and it's going to fake out all those retailers that were ready to long this pair and continue it up. You know what I mean? So with the monthly and weekly right now, this overall market structure, this overall downtrend I'm seeing, however you want to see it, I think if this trade war tension, especially if this trade war tension continues, and let's just say the next in this daily flips, or we are going to have that continued downside and an impulsive break of this zone, right? So let's look at the daily as well now. Because AUD did signal at further rate cuts. They just held for now. Right? The only thing is this daily closed bullish, and it did leave, it closed bullish and it left a rejection, but we could get a partial fill, maybe just even up to the supply zone of 74.5 and a flip, even if we start to flip now. Because now you can see the market structure more clearly. I think we've already had this peak, like when you're looking at that kind of market structure, right? Before it has the impulsive break. I think we're at this point now. I think this was that peak there, and then this is that rejection, and I just want to see how price reacts here now, because all we need is that impulsive break. If you want to be safe, as soon as we identify it on the 4-hour, you can just wait for a break of the structure here, like I'll show you. If you want to be safe, this is just a general guide. I just want to see how these lower highs and stuff are running. Higher lows. All right, yeah. You just wait for a break of the structure. If you want to be safe and wait for a break and retest of the structure, similar to this. Like you have your chances, but me being me, see how we've already had this liquidity grab and stuff like that as well. Me being me, I would like a more premium entry if I can get it, right? And then if you want to be safe, you would wait for this kind of price action and market structure to develop here. And we get an impulsive breakdown. I just want to see if we can test this wick, test the supply area, or how high we go again. If it breaks back above, if it breaks back above 74.5 and comes to test this high, I'm not going to be playing in this range, right? Because it could do one of these and peak out one more time when you just look at how price works with this pair right before it drops. Like it can test those highs multiple times and show like it's gonna have a continuation up before it has just an impulsive drop and a nice continuation down. Because the overall trend is bearish, the fundamentals around this are bearish, the retailers are still very long on this. The trade war pressure is increasing, and if this weekly flips, it's over. It's just that this daily close in this daily price action is showing some more bullish pressure, right? I think it's still trying to bring in some more retailer liquidity and get them jumping in. And we do have this bullish rejection here that could get filled. You could get a wick fill. But I like the overall trend of this pair, and I like how that's all lining up. Yeah, I like that so far. So, first area of interest is this current zone. You can see you have some nice hourly candle body closes. You go to the 4-hour. You have some solid candle body closes, nice wicks and liquidity grabs, right? But if we break above that, I think we're coming to this area, anywhere here. Like these are my areas of interest to look for rejections. If it comes above this, we're probably gonna go test the high and peak a bit higher and do one of these. Do one of these, which I do not want to see. But also understand when it did come to the zone, it went there impulsively. I don't think we have any fundamental fuel or any other AUD news or support that can give us that burst up in price like that. Right? But we do have that wick range where we could get a partial fill. And these are some of these partial fill ranges where that daily wick can get filled, at least some half of it, 80% of it. But these are some nice rejection points I want to look at. And of course, if you want to be safe, wait for a break of the structure to the downside. You can see it a lot more clear on the hourly here. We'll label a nice, the most safe zone will probably be these candle bodies. So we'll put in like the median. Wait for a break of this. This would be your area of interest if you want to be safer and patient. Right? Because then you're going to be going from zone to zone. But you should have an impulsive play once we do have a break of the structure, because this to me is just generating order flow and liquidity for that impulsive play, right? And you can see this as like a big fake out if you want to call it that, or just a liquidity grab as well. Even right now, some nice rejections at this level, 74.2. 1 minute, if we broke back below here and retested this, I'd probably look for a sell. But I think we can go a bit higher just because of that daily wick range and just because to get in some more retail order flow. But we are at a current area of interest. I just want to address that, right? Because the market structure is a bit messier, I don't have just one area of interest. All right. So I just be watching price at these zones. This is what I'd be doing, and I'd be looking for stuff like this. So the same thing I just said here, but like look at this market structure and price action is the same thing that happened when price reacted at this zone previously, right? As soon as you had a break below these previous levels and you got like a retest, impulsive breaks, and then you just follow it level by level. All right. So any questions? You guys got any questions about AUDJPY? Oh yeah, 5 p.m. on the currency new daily candles. Sorry, I didn't see that. And then gold and commodities. The gold and oil open at 6 p.m. Eastern. I would wait till Asian Open just because spread might be a little bad right now. No. You want to see? Can you check the 4-hour resistance? This current level here, just these wicks. Otherwise, it's going to come up a bit higher here to these bodies. I usually look to daily candles for my zones. You know, candle bodies and stuff. Look, that almost lines. Look, I did this from the daily, and it almost lines up with these areas of interest I was looking at here. I like that. This would be nice, though. This is key though, because we need a break below that for the impulsive validation. I always have like the similar 15 pip, 10 pip stop loss. I usually keep my stops pretty tight, so I'll be waiting for those same things. But this is not a webinar on that. This is just AJ. Just watch the scalping webinar. Just watch the scalping webinar and lower time frame webinar, and any of the live session webinars. But does this make sense? Does the AUDJPY breakdown make sense? The logic behind it, the reasoning, the technicals, the fundamentals, and what we're forecasting. Of course, if we get a break above here, then I'm just gonna be waiting for price to come back into a sell range unless there's validation that it's gonna continue up. But I don't see any upside or validation for that yet. Okay. All right. I'm gonna stop recording and then I'll send this over.